Here is Coach Fisher on the Corky's Hotline. This segment of Scott and BR being brought to you by Sonic.
Hey now!
America's Drive-In. Good morning, Coach.
Gentlemen, how we doing?
You're doing great, Coach.
We're
How are
doing
you?
good.
Fine, thanks.
Mm-hmm. Coach, just jump in for a second, and I'm not going to ask you to get into the AJ and Norv Turner thing, but would you talk to us about coaching and what part dealing with personalities is for a coach?
I think that it's a business that, unfortunately or fortunately, everybody knows more than the coach, and they always know more than the coach the morning after.
I agree,
and that adds to all the drama that goes on. When you're involved with working with people, it's personalities and how you deal with folks, how they deal with you, and in our world, winning is everything. And when you struggle to win, then everybody looks for all the reasons why and things that never, ever, ever get brought up when you don't win. If you play and you win, you're always happy. If you play and you lose, you're always happy. If you don't play and you lose, now you start complaining. You can't complain if you don't play and you win. And I think that's the bottom line. All of us try to be consistent with who we are and how we deal with people and how we treat people, and you don't treat them all the same, but you treat them fairly, and on and on and on. But in this world, when you have success, everything's a smooth path, and when you have some failures, those bumps in the roads become craters.
Yeah, I would think so. And we're talking to Coach Steve Fisher, who tonight San Diego State plays Creighton. And, you know, Coach, you talk about personalities, and I thought it was a really, really well-done article in today's Union Tribune by Mark Ziegler about Jamal Franklin, because he's one of those guys, as Ziegler calls him, he says he's an all-in kind of a player. Right. He's a high-risk, high-reward kind of a guy. How do you deal with a personality like that where he might electrify a crowd with a dunk, but he also might do something that, like you said, we don't do things in games that we don't work on in practice, and he just did something. How do you deal with a personality like that?
I think you're constantly learning, all of us. It doesn't matter how old you are, and in our sport, Jamal is a relatively new, young, neophyte kind of player. He's not got a lot, of tremendous game experience. So I think some of the things that happen on the court are spontaneous. They just happen. But after you go through what he goes through for a few games, maybe a season or so, then you're a little more composed and a little better able to handle it. But Jamal is someone who, for the good or for the bad, he's unafraid, and he is not afraid to fail. He is someone that his motor's going at 1,000 miles an hour all the time, and it's his job to know when to tune it in and turn it down and when to let it all loose, and it's my job to be able to help him. So we talk after all situations, good, and we say this is exactly how we want you to take it to the bank all the time. And when it's not so good, like the jump-out foul in the Long Beach game, and we say, you did exactly what we wanted you to do to switch, but you gotta not give him a chance to flop, and you got to not be quite so aggressive. And I think you learn with each of these. But he's a fun guy to watch.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. He's going to be fun to watch tonight.
It seems like the whole thing has to begin with you guys, and you in particular, correctly assessing what you have in the new players that are coming onto your roster. Because if you don't have them pegged right, Coach, then they're not going to be what you expect them to be.
Well, I don't know. BR recruiting is a whole lot different than it was when you guys were recruited.
Oh.
They have really limited the access and all of that. So it's hard to get to know, really, really get to know kids today because you can't see them as often, you can't call them as often, and all of the above. But it's our job it's your job once you get them to make them all blend in. And the most important thing is if you get young guys that are understanding that it's a team sport and they have to fit, and it's a lot of it's on them too. You have to talk constantly with all of them of what's the important things that we do, and if they value winning and will give a little bit of themselves, then you can make it work. But when you do it in front of, like us, 12,414 or somebody else with 70,000 or whatever it might be, when mistakes happen, everybody's saying, man, I can't believe they let that happen, or how did that happen, and on and on. And I'm a guy, when Jamal did the one throw it off the rim dunk on the game, I didn't like it, and I told him that. But I didn't have to tell him that so 12,000 people said, boy, Fisher's really mad at him. He knew that I didn't like it, and I think he respected the fact that I told him, here's how we want you to do it.
Talking to Steve Fisher, who tonight, the San Diego State Aztecs at 7-1 and 5-0 at home will take on undefeated number 22 in the country, Creighton. Coach, before we talk about Creighton, just answer this. With the win last week at Arizona, with the only loss on the schedule thus far being against a really good Baylor team, are you insulted in any way and therefore using it, if you are, that the team has not yet climbed into the top 25?
No, I'm not. I'm not the least bit concerned about that. If we continue to win, good things will happen. A year ago, because we were 25 wins coming off the previous season, everybody said, boy, they're going to be good, and we got people's attention early. We lost a lot of those folks. So the broad perception was, well, they're going to take a step back. And I'll be honest with you, I've got more to worry about than getting in the top 25 right now. That will truly take care of itself. And I'm sure that the people that are in the top 25 are all deserving to be there. So I got no beef yet.
Yeah, but Coach, it would almost seem like at this stage of the game, you would almost prefer it to be this way.
You're probably right, BR. You're probably right. Let's keep sharpening the sword and getting ready to go to battle, and not worry too much about that. And our kids know that. They read, they listen, they hear, and they want people to say, boy, this is a good team. Everybody likes to be told they're good.
Well, this team has already shown how good they are. I mean, and there's a long way to go, obviously, but they've come out and really impressed a lot of people. 7-1, 5-0 at home tonight. Another sold-out crowd, 12,414 as number 22 Creighton comes in. Coach, just real briefly, can you give us a scouting report on these guys? All I know of them is they're scoring a ton of points. I mean, I haven't seen them. I've looked at their schedule. They haven't beaten anybody significant. I guess Iowa you might consider from what you call a BCS conference, but they're scoring a ton of points. That's the thing I see.
They were 32 ahead of Iowa with 4 minutes to go in the game, and it doesn't matter how good or bad Iowa is. This is a Big Ten team that's always pretty good. They went to UAB and won by double figures. They're a really good team. They're driven by the coach's son, McDermott, who's a legitimate All-American kind of player. He can do everything. He's 6'7". He can make the three, post up. He's so efficient with how he plays. But he's not the Lone Ranger. They've got a 6'11" center, junior college player a year ago from Venezuela who's good, and their guards are seasoned and veteran. And they've got a million set plays that they run, but by scoring all those points, they push that ball up the floor, and if you're not back in transition, they'll either beat you inside with the big guy running to the rim, or if you help on him, they'll shoot in a quick open three. It's a very good team. They were picked to win the Missouri Valley. I think it's legitimate that they're ranked, and the fans in VA House will see a really good program, and we need their help to continue the win streak in our building.
Coach, we'll look forward to seeing you tonight. I don't know what you're doing here in the next couple of minutes, but coming up next on the show. I know there's all this talk about the Big East for football and what would the basketball program do and where would the rest of the sports go. Coming up next, I'm about to unveil
unveil it.
The Scott and BR Mountain West Conference expansion plan. And I don't know what you're doing this morning, Coach, but I hope you'll tune in.
I know what I'm doing. I'm going to be listening intently, and I'll be taking notes.
Coach, great talking to you, and we'll see you tonight. Looking forward to it. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, you, man. Coach. I appreciate it.